how to install a package of bees. So if you buy a package from a breeder, what you're going to get is a box like this. So this is weighed in the bee yard. It weighs 3 pounds and it's approximately 10,000 bees. It comes with, again, 10,000 worker bees and then 1 queen, and she's attached to this orange ribbon here. When you get ready to install a package of bees, this is the one time that I'll encourage you to not light a smoker. A smoker is meant to interfere with the pheromones in a hive, and because the worker bees in this package are just getting to know their queen, we don't want to interfere with those pheromones. So for today, we're going to put the smoker aside. Now when you get ready to install your package, make sure you've got your hive site all set up and ready to go. One of the things that I encourage you to do if you have available is you can pull a frame of brood or a frame of comb from another hive. Of course, if you're a new beekeeper, you can't do this, but if you're an existing beekeeper, you can pull a frame of brood. Our number one goal when we install a package of bees is to make sure these bees stay in this hive. So giving them a frame of brood will help ensure they'll stick around to take care of the young. One thing that I like to do is I like to spray them with sugar water. So in here we've got a 1-to-1 sugar to water. By weight or volume is fine. Spraying your bees does 3 things. One, they can only feed from this sugar can a few bees at a time. So spraying them with sugar water allows them to lick the sugar off one another and get a bit of a snack. 2, bees are very hot creatures, so spraying them will help keep them cool. So I like to spray bees every couple of hours once I pick them up until I install them. And finally, I like to give them one more spray just before we install. Spraying bees ensures that they can't fly, and it'll allow them to roll out of the box just like marbles. Again, our number one goal when we install a package of bees is to make sure they stay. So spraying them with sugar water will ensure they have to stay in the box for a few hours and will help guarantee they'll stay long term. Now when you get ready to install, you want to pull out your queen bee and deal with her first. So what we're going to do is we're going to remove this nail here. So once you've removed the nail from the ribbon attached to your queen, be mindful that you don't want to yank on this ribbon. Yanking on the ribbon will likely pull the ribbon off of the queen cage, and that's what we don't want. Okay. Once you've got a hold of the feeding can, you want to make sure that you hold on to your queen. If you don't hold on to your queen, she drops inside, and then you have to reach into 10,000 bees and pull her out. Okay, I'm going to shake the bees off the end of the feeder, shake the bees off the queen, put the feeder back in the package, and set it on its side. Now, you want to make sure that your queen's alive. So she's alive, that's fantastic. If she were not, we would go ahead and package her, we would hive her anyway. If you don't hive her with the bees and then install, they will leave. So we're gonna go ahead and hive her. You're gonna notice that in your queen cage, you've got 1 cork on one end, and on the other end, you've got 1 cork on the candy end. We want to pop the cork on the candy end. Make sure you don't pop this side because that will just release her. We want to pop the cork on the candy end, and this allows a self-timed release system so the bees will have to chew through the candy in order to let her out. That ensures that they've accepted her as their own before she's able to get out of the cage. So the best way to do this is by using a nail or a tool to pop out the cork end. Sometimes you can use your hive tool, which I've done just like that. Now, if you know that the queen has been with your package for a couple of days, we can poke a small hole in the candy to give them a bit of a head start. So we're going to carefully poke a hole in the candy and be mindful to not stab your queen, and that just gives them a bit of a head start. Now what you're going to do is you're going to hang your queen. Now if you're installing and you've got comb, you can just press her into the comb, but we don't have that here. So what we're going to do is we're going to hang her using a bit of duct tape. Just like so. Okay. And then we're going to place her in the hive. Now that you've got your queen in, we can go about shaking the rest of the bees. So, again, we're going to remove the feeder can, shake off the bees, and then it just becomes a process of just literally shaking the bees into the hive. Now you're going to have to use a little bit of force. Once you think you've got all you can give it a nice tap on the side and then continue shaking. Okay. Now you want to place all of your frames into the hive. Make sure your queen's towards the center. At this point, we want to make sure that we feed our hive a 1-to-1 sugar water until they've completely drawn out the bottom box with comb. So you can use whatever feeder choice you would like. We're going to use a top feeder in this situation. Another thing that you want to do is make sure that you apply an entrance reducer to the front of the hive. I would put it on the smallest hole here. Again, our goal here is to ensure our bees stay in the hive, so allowing one bee and one out will help guarantee that they don't abscond. And you can go ahead and close up your hive. What I now recommend that you do is you make sure that you leave this wooden box out here. There's a few stragglers in there. Those bees will come out and can move into the hive. As the day progresses, when you're done, you can trash the box, or perhaps your breeder will take it back for a refund. But then you can remove it from the hive.